Welcome to episode 4 of SOS, Spouting Out Spurgeon. I'm Jim Murphy, your host. Let's see what the headliner verse is for today. The headliner verse for today is gleaned from the 4th verse of Psalm 37. Delight yourself in the Lord. To which Mr. Spurgeon said this. The teaching of these words must be surprising to those who are strangers to vital godliness, but to the sincere believer, it's only the repetition of a recognized truth. The life of the believer is described here as a delight in God, and so we learn the great fact that true Christianity overflows with happiness and joy. Ungodly persons and those who merely profess Christianity never see it as a joyful thing. To them it's service, duty, or necessity, but never pleasure or delight. If they pay attention to it at all, it's either that they may profit from it, or because they don't dare do otherwise. The thought of delight in Christianity is so strange to most people that no two words in their language stand further apart than holiness and delight. But the believers who know Christ understand that delight and faith are so blessedly united that the gates of Hades cannot prevail to separate them. They who love God with all their hearts find that His ways are ways of pleasantness, and all His paths are peace. True saints find such joys, such brimful delights, such overflowing blessings that they would follow Him though all the world cast out His name as evil. We don't fear God because of any compulsion. Our faith is no chain. Our profession is no bondage. We're not dragged to holiness or driven to duty. Our piety is our pleasure. Our hope is our happiness. Our duty is our delight. Delight and true Christianity are as allied as root and flower, as indivisible as truth and certainty. Well, that's it from Spurgeon. I'm introducing a new educational segment here on SOS, straight from my Toastmasters experience. It's time for the word of the day. I introduce a word to you, and in the next day or 2 or 3, you use it. The word of the day is acumen, or acumen. And yes, both pronunciations are correct. I checked. It's a noun which Webster's dictionary defines as keenness and depth of perception, discernment, or discrimination, especially in practical matters. Used in a sentence? A prolific writer, Spurgeon possessed the acumen to realize that it was more important as the people's preacher to be perfectly understood rather than to be perfectly eloquent. Acumen, or acumen. On a personal note, a big shout out to Josiah Smith of Motion Worship, who not only reiterated his special permission for me to use his media artifacts on SOS, but also told me to keep up the good work. And even bigger shout out goes to a lady who's just gotten smaller, Josiah's wife, Shannon. It's no small thing to bring a small thing into the world, especially since she's already the mother of Thing 1 and Thing 2. Hi, Ethan and Naomi. Oh, and a teeny tiny shout out to little baby Levi Smith, born last Saturday, June 7th. Also, last Sunday I met a gentleman by the name of Pete, and we discussed SOS, and he asked me if I had gotten permission to use the Spurgeon text I was using. Well, at first I didn't think much of it because it was being so long after the fact. I mean, Spurgeon died in 1893, I believe it was. So I thought surely the text would have been open domain, but the more I thought about it, the more I was sure I'd better check out the copyright page of the Morning by Morning book I had been using for its contemporized language. It read as follows.
All rights reserved. Under international copyright law, no part of this publication may be reproduced, stored, or transmitted by any means, electronic, mechanical, photographic, photocopy, recording, or otherwise, without written permission from the publisher.
Does this mean I have to stop doing SOS? Nope. I procured written permission from the publisher. So, a very big shout out goes out to Mr. Lloyd Hildebrand of Bridge Logos, not only for granting me permission to use the Pure Gold Classic books for my direct reference, but also for likewise telling me to keep up the good work. So many thanks to Mr. Lloyd Hildebrand, and if you, my viewing public, want to get more of Spurgeon and less of my ugly mug, Bridge Logos sells the exact text I have been using. Well, that's it for this installment. I'm Jim Murphy with SOS. God bless, and come back and see me.
SOS is a 2KC and 2MHK production.